to kick it old school.
Oh, and Luke's just popped out of the picture as we go live. Hello, greetings, awesome beings. How are you all? And hello, Luke, back for another chat. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Early in the morning here, late at night for you. And
yeah, it's very intense for you at the moment, isn't it?
It's very intense. Yes, I know. I've been using that joke. I know, right? We're killing it. We're killing it. Yes. Dome is where the heart is. There's no place like Dome. God, the puns just keep flowing, right? So quick hello to everyone in chat. Hello. Thank you for being here. Good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Yes, we're going to have a chat. And we've got a few ideas. We're not very organized, but, you know, it will be interesting. So tell your friends, invite them, share this around, give us a like. Luke's channel, Ancient Historia, link in the description below. So make sure you go and check it out. And so what are we going to talk about? Like you did mention, the world's going a bit crazy again.
Well, yeah, the UFOs are coming back, aren't they?
Yeah, we've all heard about Project Bluebeam, and we've all seen the clip where that chick who worked for Werner von Braun, by the way, said, you know, the last straw will be the fake alien invasion. And wow, they're pushing it. They're having Congress meetings where they've said they've recovered UFOs with what do they call it? Biologics, I think they call it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing as well is all these people, all these whistleblowers, like, who are they? They're just these random people that you've never heard of coming out going, yes, well, we've done this and that, and we've got this, and I don't know, we're supposed to believe it. But let's have a chat because we've got slightly different perspectives on it. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on the UFO invasion that's about to happen?
Well, it's interesting because I think when I first got into this kind of region of topic thinking, it was before I'd got into any of the history stuff, you know, when I was still kind of like, I believed in, you know, your moderate conspiracies. I hadn't gone down the rabbit hole yet. And I did go through a period when I was much younger where I watched a lot of Ancient Aliens, you know, and I used to lap that up thinking like, whoa. And then obviously you see that these guys are embellishing quite a lot of stuff. And now that's where I'm at, where I've gone and I've got every single one of Zecharia Sitchin's books, and I'm going to read them. Nice. I'm going to tell you exactly what he says, because Ancient Aliens is pretty much based on him and who was the other guy that wrote Chariots of the Gods? Can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Eric Van Daniken.
Yeah, that's the one. Eric von Daniken. He based obviously all his work as well, and his book was, you know, it's pretty big. So considering all this UFO stuff, I thought now would be the time to find out if the Anunnaki have anything to them. But I noticed it did calm down for a bit, didn't it? And then, you know, the hearings were going, especially during the COVID times, they started to bring in the hearings, and then it seemed to all go quiet, and then suddenly they're back. And how long did they do the other day? They did pretty much a whole day's worth of hearing. It was all live on YouTube. Loads of people coming in, talking about what they've apparently seen, what they've observed, what they've witnessed. People talking about nukes being turned off at their sites, aliens flying in and turning off nukes.
That's a good one. That one that's been around for a while, hasn't it? Like the aliens running around, turning off people's weapons and stuff.
And I think as well, that kind of topic, it applies to and it appeals to both sides, because if you believe that the aliens, for example, are bad, then you're like, oh shit, they can turn off our best weapons. Whereas if you believe that, you know, we're the bad guys, you're like, good, they can turn off our weapons.
Turn off our weapons.
You know, so it appeals to both sides, doesn't it? Because you've got one side of the argument that can say it's an invasion, and then you've got the other side that go definitely down the CE5, you know, the CSETI contact groups. Stephen Greer saying that, you know, these guys are completely peaceful. don't worry, they're all fine. And I think maybe it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's very much, for me, it's a bit of a continuation of the whole theme of don't worry, just sit down and watch the show. Someone else will sort it all out for you. There's a savior coming, he's coming down from the sky, all this kind of stuff. It could just be another one of those, right? Just sit back, the aliens are coming to save you. Because a lot of people are still waiting for the spaceships to come and pick them up and take them off to wherever they're going to go, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, because I think
one I heard, sorry, just quickly is.
Oh, go on, sorry. Got
yeah,
so.
Come on, butting in, bloody hell. Is because they're saying that they've got alien technology. They're saying they've recovered technology, right? And so at the same time that they're saying the world's exploding and it's our fault, right? That they're now coming out and saying, oh, but we had all this free energy technology all the time anyway. So, we didn't, it's a bit of a juxtaposition there, right? If they had the free energy and we had access to it, then by their, definition, we wouldn't be destroying the world at the moment, right?
Well, you'd think so. But then, of course, you've got the side of it that they say that the agreement that the US government has with the rest of the world pretty much is, we get the UFOs. We'll come in. We've got the technology to take them down. We'll get them. And then when we get them, we take them back to America and we give them to private companies. And then they go and take all that technology. And then they turn that into weapons. And they'll come back to the US government and say, how would you like a ray gun? And they'll be like, yeah, we'd love 30 million of those, please. And they go, yep. And then they'll take the tax dollars and pay for the weapons. So you could say that the private organizations are the ones that are deciding when should we allow these kind of technologies to be released. And if you're in charge of the money flow, well, you're not going to let them out, are you?
Exactly right. And as we know, all governments are corporations as well, so they're just doing business deals really between each other, aren't they? And obviously there's the big question of what is space. We have different opinions on this and what's out there. So it's like where are these? Because I think there's something going on. I think there's something out there, right? That's not human. But I mean, the big question is where are they coming from, right? Most Christians believe that they're interdimensional and they're demons. I think there's definitely other dimensions. I don't think they're coming from deep space. I just that's not my.
It's quite interesting actually, because this goes into something I've just been researching the past couple of days. And for example, the Hindu Vedas, right? So in the Vedic religion, the Devas are considered to be the Devas are considered to be benevolent beings that are good, but in Zoroastrianism they're considered to be evil, right? And this is quite interesting there because you think Deva, and then you've got devil. Right? Deva, devil. Yeah. So I started looking into this. I just brought it up today. I was thinking, I wonder if devil was ever Devel, like as in not an IL at the end, an EL, like L as in God, Devel.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was. But then I thought, well, of course, there wasn't a V back then. So I wonder if there was an F involved. And of course, you go back even further to Old English and you have Diafal, Dio-fol, right? So I look into that.
Wow, okay.
And
Diablo.
So, well, very close, yeah. Diar-fol. Now, they try and say that it comes from Diablo. Now, dia means two, and blow, it possibly comes from the Dutch meaning like for blood, so it could mean to blood, or it could actually refer to bladder, as in literally pissing yourself. And that could connect to what we talked about before with God in Welsh actually meaning incontinence in the old dictionaries. But if we go,
really, I've never heard that one. God in Welsh means incontinence.
Yeah. If you look it up now, if you go on Google and search the word God in Welsh, it'll tell you that it means code. But if you go and get a dictionary from the 1800s, like I've done, then you look up the word God and it'll tell you adultery or incontinence. So the word God, when you pray to God, if you are Welsh, if you're praying to God, you are praying to adultery and incontinence. They use the word dur. So they say dur like devar or dio. So they all seem to use D's at one point before the switch to the G. So before the big G, it used to be this dia. So going back to Diarfol, right? I thought, well, if Theo is God, then presumably Fol must be kind of less, God less is evil. So the devil surely would be some kind of god less. Well, interestingly, Fol in Latin comes from foliage, which, well, foliage comes from fol, but it implies to leaves. So God leaves, but leaves as in leaves of a tree. And I thought, well, that's a
Yeah,
coincidence, isn't it? Because God leaves
yeah,
would be evil,
yeah,
right? If God has left, that's
yeah,
evil. That's
yeah,
what you say. It's godless. Yeah, it's they describe it as being a lack of God, being, the devil. So I looked into it further and I thought, well, okay, so if devil is dearful, then evil must be earful. Now, this comes back to this. Who's Ea? Ea. Ea is
yeah.
Enki, the god of creation. Ear
Oh,
fall.
hey, yeah,
Ea,
yeah, yeah.
Ea.
Okay.
Yeah, Ear. Ea leaves. Ea fall. Ear fall. Ea leaves. So then I thought, well, where else do we use the word fall or full? Well, if you're full of something, you're
Yeah,
fearful, you're full of fear, right?
yeah.
So if you believe in Ea, like a pagan, a Chaldean pagan, you would be earful because you're full of ear.
Full full of God.
So the Romans would have called you earful. You see? So
Wow.
because
Yeah,
you're full
yeah.
of evil, so they've switched it for being full of ear is actually evil now.
Ah, evil. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's
Wow, man.
earful.
It's all in the spelling, hey?
It's all hidden in the words.
Yeah, man. That's interesting. And of course, that's the original alien story, I guess. It can be looked at that way. Is the gods, that they tell
Well,
us
yeah,
came down.
Enki.
Yeah,
Enki is part of that
Anunnaki.
group. Yeah,
Yeah, Anunnaki means those. What is it? Those that from heaven
from
came.
heaven to earth came. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
but I
it
mean the
implies something
Anunnaki.
coming down.
Yeah, they're very similar to the application of like Nephilim in the Bible, because Nephilim are, of
Yes.
course, supposed to be the cross between angels and man. And now this is something that Eric von Daniken says a lot. Aliens, angels don't come down and just, mates if they're interdimensional. They must have some kind of
Yeah.
physical form to
Yeah.
do that. So it's possible that they're talking about some kind of genetic fuck up. Maybe they came to our planet, saw these hairy women, and were like, you know what? I'd love a piece of that. A few thousand years later, we're sat here going,
just got to get them. Yeah, get rid of some of the hair. I mean, there's also in the Bible there's a group called the Anak, and they're giants. So that sort of blends into that story too. And of course, it goes into it in the Book of Enoch with the fallen angels, and they actually name them, and then they tell us that of the technologies, right, that they brought down and taught us. And it's all stuff like makeup, women putting on makeup and so yeah, maybe you're right. They're like, these chicks are all right, but they need a bit of makeup.
just handing out razor blades and a bit of perfume, going, they'll be fine. Don't worry. All our women are dead. We need
came
them.
down and taught them the art of shaving. But
yeah,
go.
interestingly, the opposite side of the Anunnaki story, though. So if you go to some of the Chaldean myths and stuff, and now these myths, the Chaldean stories of, like, for example, Tiamat, you'll have heard, like Anunnaki, the Tiamat, Marduk, is stories of a giant or a god being defeated. Well, a lot of this can also be linked to planets, and that's where as above, so below comes from, because
Yes.
you can take these notations and you can find out exactly what they're talking about just by looking at the sky. So a good example of this actually is Jesus, right? So when they said that they wanted, when they said the Messiah is coming and he's going to be born to a virgin, everyone was like, virgin birth makes sense, right? But of course they said he's going to be born in Bethlehem, right? So the virgin, he'll be born to a virgin in Bethlehem. Right. So we know that Virgo is the Virgin Mother. So he's probably meaning that he'll be born in the Virgin. But you look at Bethlehem, and what does Bethlehem mean? It means house of bread. What is
Yes.
Virgo called? The constellation is called the house of bread. So when you're looking for
Is it?
Bethlehem, you're not looking. Yeah,
Oh,
it's called the house of
I
bread.
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
because it's
Okay.
yeah. Sometimes it's called the house of corn, or it's harvest time, basically. Because believe it or not, the old
Harvest time to do with spring.
well, harvest time's maybe different for you in the other side of the world, but for us, it's in August would be with your harvest, which is why the old calendars used to end in Leo and begin in Virgo. So what was happening was the sun, the actual physical sun, crosses through Virgo, and then Virgo births a new sun. Do you get me? It's just passing through Virgo. It's just a story of the sun passing through Virgo. And that's why it's like, you know, the son has been born to the virgin in the house of bread. It's a new
Yeah,
son each
nice.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's just a story of rebirth, and the same thing applies to the Egyptian stories of Set, Horus, and Osiris. So the story with that being Osiris
Oh,
rules, Osiris rules,
Cyrus,
and then
man.
his brother cuts him up into 13 pieces, throws him
Yeah.
in a box, and sails him down the river. And he takes over, and darkness rules Egypt. So Isis, Osiris's wife, she goes and finds all the pieces, except she can't find his penis, which is a very important piece of
I
the
know,
story.
right?
So she puts him back together, and she gets someone to make him a golden dick, right? Which is exactly what
Yep.
you need. And then they have a virgin birth, because of course, golden dick.
Gotta make
So
that
they have a
work. Yeah,
virgin
mate.
birth. It don't work. It's
Oh,
magical,
yeah,
but she has a
virgin birth. What
virgin.
am I saying?
Yeah. So she births Horus, and Horus, he wants to take. I don't worry, I'll teach it you later, bro. The Horus, well, he wants revenge, so he goes and fights Set, right? And this is where the story is interesting. This is where the Eye of Horus comes in, because obviously the Eye of Horus to a lot of people is an evil image, and you might have noticed it's on my logo because it's not evil. The Eye of Horus actually comes from this. Basically, in his battle with Set, his eye gets cut out and half his power is gone. So the god
Yeah.
Thoth runs around looking around, and he's like, right, I'm going to find this eye and put it back together. And he finds half, and then he finds half of the other half, and then he finds half of the other half, and then he finds the half of the other half. And this keeps going until he's finding teeny tiny pieces. And there's a bit of a metaphor here for like, dude, just go. You've got as much as you can, right? But he keeps going, and
Sounds
he
like
eventually
Fibonacci spiral.
realizes, he realizes I've got a bit lost in my searching here, but he puts it all together with what he has like 99.9%. He's, all that remains is the bacteria at this point, and he takes it to Horus, gives it him. Horus slams the eye back in, and he defeats Set, and then Horus is now in charge. But of course, that story sounds great. It's just a story for the sun. So the sun moves through the summer solstice, and then darkness rules because now the nights are getting shorter. And then as it goes to the winter solstice, that's it. That's the end. It's dark as anything. And then the new sun is born. The Horus is born then, and the days get lighter until he finally defeats the darkness and light reigns again. So this is just, again, a story for the sun moving through.
Nice.
But the Anunnaki, they believe Osiris was actually related to a planet that was physically destroyed. Once again, as above, so below. They believe that there was a planet in between Mars and the next bit, where the asteroid belt is. They believe that there was a planet there that used to exist. Well, yeah, some call it Tiamat, some call it Osiris, some call it Marduk. So they believe that also is a reference to that. So there are so many different interpretations to it. It's very difficult to know.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing about all these stories, especially the Bible, is it can be read as an astrotheological book, can't it? Just all about, like you said, explaining the seasons, the movements of the heavens and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of those, I mean, this is why we're in such a kerfuffle, because a lot of those have been, turned into stories and, deified or, what's the word? I can't remember the word, but, humanified. And turn into stories where we think that we take them literally, but they're just metaphor, right?
Well, exactly. And those kind of stories, they go all through the Bible, because you've got to remember that a lot of the books that they chose to use for the Bible weren't written at the time. They were written after. And believe it or not, Jesus wasn't actually mentioned until about 70 AD. There was a Roman emperor who had some battles in Jerusalem, went back to Rome, and one of the Jewish kings that he'd had a fight with, so this Jewish king was fighting him, and after he lost, the Jewish king was like, "You're the Messiah. You've beat me. You're the Messiah." And the guy was like, "I like that. I'm going home." And he went back to Rome like, "Do you hear that, guys? I'm the Messiah." And everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" So he had to invent this kind of story about Jesus proclaiming that the Messiah will come at the end of because he says it will be at the end of our age. And like that was all it was. He wanted to have the Bible predict him. He wanted to be a prophecy. Wow. So he twisted it so that Jesus was like, "Oh yes, I'll be coming, but it won't be me. It'll be a different me, and he'll destroy Jerusalem. So this guy who's
By
just
the way,
destroyed Jerusalem is like, well, you heard it.
here I
Folks.
am.
Yep, here I
Wow,
am.
so it's
So
true.
yeah,
Monty Python had it right, man. He wasn't the Messiah. He was just a very naughty boy.
the naughty boy. Yeah. And have you seen the book? I can't remember the exact name, but it's the one about Jesus is a mushroom, essentially. Have we lost him? He's frozen. He's going in, and is he back? That shocks him. He looks petrified.
And I'm
He's
back.
back. There we
Is
go.
Luke back? There we are. Sorry about that, guys. Blame Elon Musk. I do. All right. What were you saying?
The book about the mushrooms.
Yes, Jesus was a mushroom.
Yeah, so that book goes into exactly this the same thing that we're really saying. But basically, the guy that was given the task of translating the Dead Sea Scrolls when they were found, he started going through them, and he was like, fucking lot of drug use. Like, and he quickly realized that these guys were doing heavy drugs. And then he clocked on to the fact that there was one particular section, right, where they're talking, where they've used certain names that sounds like the Hebrew word for the mushroom. And they've done it again and again. So, for example, Herod, King Herod. Herod is just a name for a type of mushroom that was found in the area. And there is, I'll have to find the exact paragraph for you. It's in one of these books, but it goes deep into it. And if you read it, it basically phonetically just sounds like you're saying, mushroom. The mushroom went to the mushroom, and the mushroom was mushroom. Right? I'm not kidding. It's a whole paragraph that just sounds like someone just saying mushroom over and over again, and it's like they're trying to tell you, take the mushrooms.
It was written by someone on mushrooms. Mushrooms.
I'm not kidding. But these, like, he was, this guy was convinced, like, the Bible was telling him to take mushrooms. And then he started doing it afterwards. He was like, this was something they must have done. And this makes sense because if you go back to Egypt again, right, you got to remember Christianity is actually based on Egyptian, the Egyptian religion. That's Horus is Jesus. He was the virgin, the original virgin birth. The eye of Horus is the all-seeing eye. And when you go back over there, you've got this this plant called the acacia tree. And they call that the tree of life. And now the acacia has DMT in the bark, and you can get it out by doing some kind of alchemy, basically by soaking the bark in some alcohol or different ways. And alchemy is where that comes from, because the land around the Nile, the black land around, is called Kemet. So the Egyptians called their land around the Nile, where it's all fertile, Kemet, which is word for black. So alchemy comes from alchemet, or chemistry comes from
chemistry.
Kemet. Yeah. So that shows that clearly they knew what they were doing. They also used to give their pharaohs a golden powder that would apparently let them see the other realms, and their pharaohs were expected to be able to tell prophecies. They were if you couldn't do it, they'd be like, we need to get rid of this guy. So well, yeah, they'd take you into their temples with all the shamans, give you DMT, and then be like, fucking go see God, bro. Tell us what he tells you. And that is where that comes from. So what they've really done, it seems like, is they've hidden this in the text of the Bible. So when the Romans have made the Bible, the people have tried to hide the truth in the stories by saying, just take the drugs. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because now there's a war on drugs, right? They're all banned unless they're pharmaceuticals. But I mean, the whole chemistry thing's interesting too, because getting back to the Anunnaki who came down and, were apparently giants and, saw the daughters of God and found them, to be beautiful and had children. How did they do that, right? Maybe it was genetic engineering, right? Maybe it was chemistry. Maybe it was something to do with Kemet, right? Like that's the most. And also, without chemistry, with our DNA, our chromosomes, we have 2 fused chromosomes, they tell us. The story is that we've got 30, what have we got? 36 pairs? Oh God, I'm forgetting that's wrong. But basically we've got one less pair than a hominid, like an ape. So we're one away, but they say that 2 of ours have been fused together. So that's why we have one less, is we've been genetically altered, which kind of fits into that kind of narrative. So
And then, of course, an extra chromosome, doesn't that end up with Down syndrome?
Well, that's exactly. So when they, I guess, when they separate, you know, when they're not joined, yeah.
Oh, he's going in and out. We'll get him back eventually.
Sorry about that, guys. I hope you kept talking. Am I? Yeah, is Luke going out as well, or is it just me? He stopped. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I just stop as soon as you do. I stop. I just go quiet and I stare into the camera.
It's awkward silence, man. Awkward silence.
Hi, Squirrel, in the chat. How you doing?
Yes, let's say let's do that. Hello to everyone in the chat. We've got Deanne Kendall, Divine Spirit, Hippie Shake as usual. Just JP, Divine Spirit, Cat 14, Squirrel Sniper, Chris,
I'm gonna send you
CJTV,
the thing as well.
Divine Spirit, Anna Lake, is that how I say it? Jolly Man, Holistic Media. I think all vibes.
He's back.
Gainer. I am Lord Shri Hari Hari. I hope I got that right. Flat Earth. Geordie Bloke.
Right, I've got something for you. I'm going to send it in the private chat.
All right, private chat.
Get this link up because this is it's quite interesting.
All
Send
right.
a quick one. So it's the second image. Once it's up, I'll show you. Just going to let my cat out of the room.
Out of the bag? Okay, guys, he's just let the cat out of the bag. Okay, second picture. There's only one picture here. Oh, wow, this is a cool site. What's this? Christie's. Is that like Christie's? Are they the auction people?
Right, sorry about that. Right, I'm back.
Okay, so I've got
so yeah, I can't see your screen, but go on image number 2. It's
image number 2. I've only got. So
it says
at the top. I've got like
one more. It should say below.
One more.
Beneath the image, it should say there's one more. I think.
No. Oh, hang on.
No, top left. Yeah, if you click top left. Yeah.
Circle? Right. Okay. Let me get back here.
Because that's the 72 names for God, and then all the names for God in the different languages around the 1600s.
All right. Can you see that?
Aye. You'll have to really zoom in, but yeah, these are all the different names for God. There's 72 names, and then around the outside you can see all the different languages and what they are. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll see Tartaria is there, which is cool. Right there. To your right.
Where's Tartaria? Oh, there, Tartaria. And not. I'm not. Oh, he's a not. Tura, Zim, Adad. So there's 72 names for God. Now, is this Hebrew? Is that where this comes from?
Yeah, the original of the 72 Hebrew names for God. They're like the secret names, as they call them.
72 is an interesting number because, what is it? The precession of the equinox, we move 1 degree every 72 years. Is that right? I think that's right.
It's also how many disciples Jesus supposedly sent out into the world.
And it's half of 144. As in the 144,000. So it's an interesting number.
Wow, yeah. It is. And if you zoom in there, one of them, it kind of scared me because when I was reading it, I misread it. And if you go to Lux, I thought he said Luke dies. Look at Lux down bottom right. Underneath it says Lux and then dies. And I was like, oh, shit. But then I was like, oh, it's all right. Didn't say Luke.
Look
to your left now. On the inner column where it says creator down a bit, Lux,
and
then
Lux.
Dies beneath it.
Angry,
and then dies beneath it.
Good die. Well, but you die well. It's a good die.
No, to the left. Dies. Look, left below Lux.
Oh, it's under there too.
Yeah. I I was just reading it like, oh, he's frozen. Has he died? Oh no. I've killed Cambell. I knew I shouldn't have shown him the names of God.
I know, right? They try to censor us. Yeah, sorry about all this. I'm sitting out on a farm. I'm getting my internet from a red electric car in space, apparently. There you go. That makes it bigger. So 72 names of God. That's interesting. Yeah. So again, that sort of alludes to astrotheology in my, it's talking about degrees, right, and precession. It's interesting. Oh, and what's all this stuff up in the plants? I was just going to say it's interesting. It's always in a sun, and here we have the degrees 1, 2, 3.
I suppose you could say they're the God leaves.
The God leaves. That's when he's leaving.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. All these words leave. Yeah, man.
I think they're just the 72 names again on the leaves, but I could be wrong.
Oh, just in case you missed them in Hebrew. Nice. All right. Well, that was an interesting picture. So what's the first one? Is this interesting?
It probably is in its own way, but I haven't studied it.
So this is all.
Just, it's done in the 1600s by this guy called Athanasius Kircher. I'd actually be interested to see if these hieroglyphs even mean anything, because if they do, then that'd be quite interesting. I don't know if he's drawn it from seeing something, but we could try and decode those hieroglyphs. But
yeah, well,
they look like they might just be nonsense.
Have you looked into the Welsh connection? They say if you can read Welsh, you can read the hieroglyphs.
Well, not quite. The way you do it is, if you can speak Welsh, but you need to be able to speak Old Welsh, really. It's the really old version. So a good dictionary will help you out. But if you do it like a pictogram, so I'll find a book, actually. I've got one over there.
I mean, and the other thing I was going to say is this is 1600s. I mean, and this is the thing, right? If we found this in a book and it said, 2000 BC, like we just take that for granted, right? It's got the right style.
So found me book. So I'll use this as an example. So let's find where Cleopatra is.
Right. Porous the ball.
So, here you go. Right, poor Ptolemy. So you've heard of Ptolemy?
Yep.
So the way that would be spelled is basically it's like a square, which is referring to a door, which in Welsh is port. Yeah, Yayan's just posted a square, actually, so I think he's straight on it. But so that's a port, so use por. And then there's a cake. It's a specific type of cake called a tishon lap, which is baked in Wales still. So that'd be portir, like, so you take the T. Then you've got an olive, so it's literally portol. Then you've got a lion, which is lu, facing left, telling you which way you're reading it, so portola. And then there's the hook, which is from ma. Then the two sails, which is the double E. And then it finishes again with the, I'm not exactly sure which one this is, but it's a C. So in the end, it means Portolemes, which is the correct way. So I'll show you if you can see. I don't know if it'll come up because of the thing. Oh no, the blur, bloody blur.
Blur.
I'll turn that off. I'll turn the blur off, and then I'll show you. But yeah, so this book here that I've got, it's called Chiroglyphics, right? This includes at the back an entire dictionary of the ones that they've figured out so far. So like people have gone around doing it, and there are hundreds. So literally, if this didn't work, it would have fallen to pieces in seconds. Someone would have been like, this isn't working. But it is. Every single symbol has a meaning, and then that meaning has multiple words that it could mean as well. So the symbol's always the same. So for example, we'll find lion, and I'll show you what I mean. Where's lion at?
So it sounds like you're saying that the hieroglyphs are actually representing like letters almost, not concepts.
Well, no, it's both, right? So for example, a lion would be used as pictogram to reference the letter L, but it would also be used to spell a sentence. So for example, a lion, the intended root word could be wealthy, it could be light or shining, or it could be guarding, right? But it's still all a lion. But so you work it out based on the sentence. So it is quite a hard thing to do. You figure, pick it out.
Kind of like English.
Well, yeah, but English does have double. When you think of the word leaves, leaves has two meanings. Leaves
Yeah, yeah.
means to leave, and it also means to leaf. So
Mm.
they're doing exactly the same thing. So you got to remember as well, these hieroglyphs are everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and they wouldn't have wanted you to have to go to like a special, school or have to have a cipher to figure out what these things were. They want people to read their story. This king that's just had his hieroglyphs plastered all over a temple. It's because he
Yeah,
wants you to know. He wants you to know what he's saying. He hasn't just
yeah,
wrapped it all up and then they've gone, "Oh, that's beautiful. What does it say?" Fuck knows.
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So they wanted people to understand it. So the idea that we can't decode hieroglyphs is really weird. And this book actually, it is changing the way we view it because they don't want to
I mean,
accept
yeah.
that basically
What are
there
they
is
trying to
a
hide,
human
maybe?
connection.
Because I mean,
Well,
they tell us they've decoded everything else, right? And they've translated everything else, but they can't do hieroglyphs, So it's like, oh,
well, that's
really?
the thing is
What do they say?
when they do a hieroglyph now, they'll have like one letter. So they'll take for example, a symbol and they'll say, "Oh, that means this letter." And then later on, they'll be like, "Oh, it also means this letter." And they have no excuse for how it changes. They're just like, "Oh, that's just, it's obvious. It's Cleopatra, so it must be." When it doesn't work like that at all. When you do it the Welsh way, all those issues disappear.
Yeah,
So those
right.
problems are gone. And they must know. Like, they're not idiots. For
Oh,
example, in
yeah.
World War II, Britain used to decode all our, or so it might have been World War One actually. It used to encode all our messages in Cymric. So they'd get the English, and then they'd go, right, turn that into Cymric, and then encode that. And the Germans, if they decoded it, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" You know, because they'd have no
Okay.
idea. And the Germans used to do the same thing, but with theirs. But in fact, what was it that the Germans used? Oh, can't remember. I know the Americans used Native Americans. So the Americans used to use, I think it was Apache that they would use. So they'd encode all their messages into Native American and then transmit them. And someone on the other end would have to retranslate it from Native American. I think he's gone.
Sorry about this, guys.
It's all right.
Random
I did talk for a
interruption.
little bit.
Good. Keep talking. Yeah, let me know, guys.
Well,
Like, when it freezes, is it just me, or do we both freeze? Like,
Navajo,
just
that's it.
me.
It's the Navajo. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, well, there you go. Because I didn't hear anything about the Indians, so they obviously heard you. So when I freeze, it's your show, mate. You got to carry the torch for us.
Well, I tell you what, as well, it'd be a good idea to get that video up soon. The mage one that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we can have a look at the mage video. So, this is you tell us. It's a UFO sighting. Blah blah blah. This all to do with the UFO agenda that's happening. That they're telling us about. Yeah, what happened
So
in Brazil? They got a Brazilian.
Go on, you tell 'em.
No, I don't know the story.
Well, you seem
Oh,
to
I
know. No, they went to. So this is apparently this occurred, I think, last year, and I'm hearing that it's been scrubbed from the internet. That's what the guy in the video claims, anyway. So I just want to share this because it's quite a big story. That apparently there was these UFOs that we're going to see in the videos floating above this place called Mage in Brazil. The Brazilians were shooting at them with like conventional artillery. Apparently, it was like a war zone above this city. There's videos of them shooting up. It's pretty weird. Whatever it is, it's definitely crazy. And then apparently the Americans turned up with their weapons that are capable of taking down this thing, which they did do. They took it down, and then they went into the woods and hunted down the occupants. So whether it's alien or who knows, maybe it's maybe this is U.S. government stuff or private company, and they've been trying to freak out the Brazilians.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've got some footage here of the. Oh, that's a good one. It's got lights moving around the outside of it.
Oh, it gets way weirder. Starts off dead low key.
Oh, kookaburras. There you go.
Jesus
Got kookaburras
Christ, that
in
sounds
the
like an
background.
evil bird in the background.
It's not evil, man. That's a kookaburra.
It sounds like it's just stolen something from you.
I know, and now it's laughing at me. It's probably just pooed on my tent or something. Yes. What was I going to say? Yeah. So this, we can also tie all this. I mean, this goes back to the 50s, right? This whole UFO thing, obviously Roswell, but Admiral Byrd and the South Pole, right? That we had what was it, Project Fishbowl, where they were shooting rockets up. Then there was High Jump, where they went down with an army and apparently got into a bit of a battle with UFOs and got their asses kicked, the Americans, and they sort of limped home. And then we have this whole story of New Schwaberland again down in the Arctic and with UFOs.
Yeah, like I say, this video just gets a lot weirder. So it starts off with just these lights, and then apparently we start to see them shooting at these ships, because this event happened for days before, according to the reports. They started shooting at them, and I'm not sure if they shot back or what happened with that. But yeah, so here it says it's 2020, I think, or was that Peru 2020? So I don't know if that's. But this is, yes, showing some of them. And people will say flares or drones or, well, look at that.
What's the other one? The Chinese candles. Oh, lanterns. Yeah.
Yes, Chinese lantern. So, this guy does talk about this a bit. He says about,
he's boring.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think this is where they start start shooting at them, because you're hearing the gunshots going off. And yeah, look, there you go. You can see. Apparently, they're trying to take these things down.
What? Wow. And yeah. See, this is the thing. If there's any validity to this, it's been going on at least 70 years. Because in Washington, I think it was 51, they had all the UFOs over the White House. Do you remember? Have you seen that footage?
Yeah, that's, well, apparently, have you heard they were the Nazis, that crazy story that it was the people that had taken technology from Germany and
See, this is the thing. Germany, in World War II, their big thing was rocket technology, wasn't it? And of course, that turned into Project Paperclip and Werner von Braun, and which turned into NASA and then turned into Disney and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, so they say that the Germans had this technology in the 40s, and then 10 years later that it could have been them that were, coming up and harassing the Americans. But I mean, if it was them, what was the point? They just sort of hung around the White House, and then that was it, right? Now it's just a story. But there's also stories of airships back in the 1800s that were called UFO. I mean, in the descriptions, they sound like airships, and they were UFOs that were landing and strange people were getting out. And this was back in the 1800s. And then even back in the, was it 1200s, the plague, there's stories of airships again, right, dumping dead bodies out to cause disease and stuff. So,
I mean, have you heard the one with the plague about the that people would see the reapers in the fields, like spraying stuff, like they there was
the bird face people with those funny masks on, the
doctors. I mean, there is always the biggest chance with that is that they figured out how to kill their own population, and they were like, I don't like that village. Let's go fucking give it some, because we discussed this on the last stream, didn't we? That they knew about nutmeg. They definitely knew about the nutmeg, and that would stop you getting the plague. So the rich, if you had the nutmeg, you'd be able, and the Mongols, don't forget, they were supposedly catapulting the bodies of dead people that were covered in the plague, and they would, like Lord of the Rings, catapult those bodies into the walls of the city and then sit and wait for the plague to spread, apparently. So evidently they must have had some kind of access to nutmeg or other medicine to know that it's, not going to kill them too.
I mean, technology. I mean, this is the thing. I'm just trying to get this, see if there's any footage on this Washington. But I mean, that's the whole thing. If there's anything real about this, and they were recovering technology, they've had it for 70 years, and now they get to the point where they want to blame us for everything, right? But coming out with this story might just sort of bite them in the butt if they're going to admit all this stuff. But at the same time, they're trying to, push the global warming agenda and all that kind of stuff. There's no footage here.
I think the global warming agenda and all that, the agenda behind it is to force us into things that we think are for our benefit. As in, like, if we watch the planet burn, we're more likely to allow them to do whatever they want to fix it.
Yeah,
You know?
well,
It has to be tangible. We have to be feeling the effects. We have to have our cities being flooded and our, heat waves burning up the hills and stuff like that, so that we will be willing to allow them to do anything. And at that point, they get what they want. It's exactly
yeah,
the same thing. That's what a false flag is, isn't it? This is basically just. In fact, that video that we were just watching, I know we didn't see it, but there was a part where he showed what looked like energy beams coming down into one of the Canadian fires. And it literally, it's a clip, and you can see what looks like lasers coming down, and then a fire just grows and grows and grows, and then it becomes this big raging fire after all this beam coming
interesting.
through.
Jew weapons, and Martin Leakey would call them fascist weapons. But then, we have all these Paradise, right? From what was it, 2018, I think, where all the houses burnt down, cars and things melted. But there's trees standing next to these burnt houses and like rubber tires, where the tire's fine, but the rims melted out from inside it. So yeah, but yeah, if it's, I wonder if they'll push this, that, the world's stuffed. We've destroyed you, naughty humans. You've destroyed your planet. But luckily the aliens are here with technology that will save us all. Let's trust the aliens. Yay. They're telling us to do this. I mean, that would work on a big part of the population because, this story, this UFO thing, I've been watching it grow on social media, and it's definitely the majority that are into it, I think. Like there's definitely a big, part of people online saying, it's Project Bluebeam, don't be silly. But a lot of people are like, they've been waiting for this, right? They really have. Like people have been like, yes, the UFOs are coming to save us. The aliens are going to fix everything. And so they're going to jump straight into this because they want it to happen.
And then at the same time, the doomers, in a way, I think there are a lot of people that would actually welcome a war with another planet, because it'd just be cool. Like we've seen how many space movies at this point. I bet people would be like, yeah, I get to fly a spaceship. Go on, I'll fight some aliens.
Yeah, beam me up, man. Come and take me away from this world. And that's the other thing. They push this agenda, like, we're killing the world. So the world's dead, right? It's not worth saving. We've done our bit, we can't, we've kind of stuffed it up. So let's just leave it and jump off to another planet or whatever. Let's run away with the aliens and
to Muskville.
To Muskville. Yeah, man. Apparently
you just know that guy's got a bunker, don't you? He's got a bunker, and he'll stand at the door, welcoming in.
Yeah, man. Have they got spaceships? Is this why spaceships go sideways? I mean, that's a good question. Or is there? And this will freak out your mind. Is there extra land, Luke? Is there extra land?
Oh, you're cutting out, mate. Is there extra land?
Extra land? I mean, so let me just. I'll just play. I put up this video last week. Sorry, just taking a little bit to load. But I'll just play a little bit of it. This is a dude.
I think Musk heard us, and he's now cut your internet.
Sorry. So this is the problem when you run your internet through a Tesla car in space, man. Okay, so. Where am I? Let me share this screen. So this is just a clip I got. This is from 2020. A dude who's talking about space is the ocean.
Let's say we're in Miami and we're looking out over the wide open ocean. That ocean is deep space. The orbit around the Earth is the shoreline where the waves are crashing. The deep water is space. And there is a continent out there 3 times the size of Africa. That's the moon. The deep water is space. And there is a continent out there 3 times the size of Africa. That's the moon.
There you go. Oh, look at that handsome devil. So, yeah, what do you think of that?
Well, it's a big claim, isn't it?
It is, right? I mean, you've obviously seen all the maps that are out there showing extra land, and of course all of those maps are just based on interpretations. As far as we can tell, that maybe you could maybe argue the one that they found in Japan in what was it, 1910. That there might be some validity to that, but all the other ones we know, like all the Noscon fundus and that, have been drawn off stories and information. But is there more land out there? If it's a flat plane, which I think I don't think it's a ball in space, but that means that there could be more land, which means aliens could be literally aliens. Because, and again, you would have heard this, extraterrestrial from extra land, but an alien, like if I go to England, I'm an alien, right? Because I've gone to another land. I'm not a native of that land. I'm an alien. So if someone comes in from another land to our lands, it's the exact same concept, right? And I always think about cigar-shaped UFOs and airships. Are they just, coming in from 5,000 k's away, not 500 million light years?
I know
and just another point there before you start talking. If they can get, whatever, right, 1 million light years from their planet to here, how come they always crash?
Yeah, I agree with that one. The idea that they travel this far and then, oops, we just hit a mountain. I think us shooting them down is definitely a possibility, because it would be such a human thing to do, wouldn't it? To send a signal like, hey over here, and then they get within close and just bang, thanks.
Yeah.
Cheers for the
but
ship.
I mean, is that even possible? If they've got the tech to come across space, then you would think that they've got the tech to see what kind of a civilization we are, at least before they land.
You'd think so.
And so they know why would they put themselves in harm's way? But they also should have the technology. I mean, come on, we've all seen Star Wars, raise the shields, give me more power to the shields. Come on, Scotty. Like they should have all this stuff. We shouldn't be a threat to them.
Well, I think that's what that video is implying that we just watched, was that the weapons, like conventional weapons that we were using, conventional projectiles, they were just like not even touching this ship. But then when the US turned up with their own laser stuff, their directed energy weapons, that was when they could take one down. So mate, who knows? But I don't think it's very believable that these intelligent beings would just hover above a city, getting shot at for days. Like, yeah, this will be fine.
And the other thing with that is with, aliens from space, the biggest problem I have, and I've always, sort of thought is, if space is infinite, if we go by the story they give us, space is infinite, which means there's infinite planets, which means there's infinite civilizations, which means there's infinite civilizations in the Stone Age and infinite civilizations in the Space Age, right? That can travel through space. That they'd already be here, man, and there'd be more than one of them.
Yeah, I think so.
And haven't we already been invaded? Like, this is this the biggest scam of all, right? We've already been invaded, and then they just put out this thing of, oh my god, dude, oh my god,
plot twist.
That's a possibility. Well, I mean, it's a possibility that we, got brought here and put in an enclosure.
Oh, he's gone again.
Oh, I'm back. That was just a little one. Yeah, maybe we got captured, right, and put in the Eden, and then then Enki came up with his reptilian features and told us the news and that we're free, and they let us out, and then they went, oh shit, now they're burning the planet. They're burning our planet.
5 minutes later, just like
yeah, next minute. Next minute. Then thank you, Gentugon. Thank you very much for your kind donation, super sticker. And hello again to everyone in chat. Thank you all for being here. 300 of you. Hope you're enjoying our little conversation. And I really should be looking at this to see, if there's any very intelligent comments, which I'm sure there are. We let's have a look. Have you got anything to say, or am I just talking? We are, which is infinite. The space is inside. Oh, there you go. The universe. You in verse. You in song. Frequency, man. God is within.
Well, yeah. In fact, my family motto is in Dio Omnia, which means God is in. Well, all is in God, or we are all in God.
We are all. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, all is in God. So it's saying he's out there. We're inside.
Yeah. Like, so we're in the mind of God kind of thing.
The living Father, yeah.
The living Father, yeah. And then, but then if God is omnipotent, right, then he has to be in us by default, which is another problem I have, like thinking about religions when I was young. It's like, well, if God's omnipotent, he's in everything, right? He is everything. So how does the devil exist? Because
Well,
doesn't that mean that the devil has to be full of God too, or else he's not
yeah,
omnipotent?
exactly.
You
Well, I
know?
suppose it's like God playing two characters. So he's like, right, I'm going to be a bit schizophrenic with this. I'm going to put a little wig on, maybe
Yeah.
some horns, come in like, you guys need punishing. And
Yeah.
then he punishes us and he leaves. And everyone's like, well, that Satan was a dick. And God walks in, still taking off the fake mustache, just like, oh, sorry about that, guys. It's just been
Well,
nipped
this is
out
the
what
thing.
happened.
Yeah, and we just got experiencing itself, which I'm sure we are, because I believe there's only sort of one creative force. So that's what you would do, right? If you want to experience something, you'd go, okay, well, I need a good and a bad. Let's go play cops and robbers. And so you go
Well,
and play this
exactly.
game, and you come back and you go, oh, yeah, let's do that again, but this time I'll be the bad guy. Yeah. And so is that part of the experience? Because all this thing about death, and there's this big concept, that is a program, that the world sucks and it's going to hell in a handbasket and all this kind of stuff, and oh my god, we're run by these deplorable people.
Well, do you think it's interesting as well that Wheel said that one of the names of God was dies? Because we all die.
We all
So
die.
do you have to die to be like God?
Well, exactly right. It's just a vessel that we're in, a meat suit that we inhabit for experience, and then we go back to the one, right? We integrate back when we pass over. I mean, yeah. No, you haven't frozen. You're just looking intelligently into the camera there. I'm thinking.
Oh, was I looking into the camera? I was looking at that. No, yeah, I was reading reading the comments and
reading the comments. That's what I was doing. Satan is a psyop. There you go.
Yeah,
It's
because
Satan
obviously Satan and Saturn.
Satan, exactly. Yep. Saturn,
Mhm.
which, and then Sauron. The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Saturn. Like, it's got all these things everywhere.
He was a dick, wasn't he?
Sauron, God, yeah, man.
Yeah.
What a wanker.
Massive twat.
Yeah. You wouldn't invite him over to a party, that's for sure, man. He'd be the dude spiking the punch and peeing all over the walls.
Don't leave your drink near Sauron.
No, man. He'll make it a bit sour. Yeah, man, sour. The towers say there are 8 immortal.
I am God. Apparently, according to Geordie Bloke, I'm God. Awesome.
I
thank
accept
you. This. I
yes.
accept.
I think he's talking to me, though, but yes, I agree.
I said it first.
What's that word? When someone says the same thing, I can't even remember. It's too early.
Jinx.
School starter. Become an ipsissimus. Ipsissimus. What's an ipsissimus? Anyone know? Ipsissimus? Just earn your merit and come back. Oh, what if I don't want to come back? What if I want to go somewhere different, play a different game, a different level? This one's getting boring. Only because, it's not bending to my will enough. I need to come back when I'm a magician, and when I don't like things, I just go, wee, and they all change. And then I shall truly incorporate the godness. What do you think?
But anyway, it's been an hour, so I'm gonna unfortunately have to call it the end for me.
Well, that was a bit rude. Jeez.
I'm
in the middle of a spiel, and you're just like, well, fuck you. I'm out of here.
Luke, what do you think? I'm going, mate.
No, I agree. I think an hour is a good live stream.
Yeah.
People will watch it.
We'll do another one soon.
But yeah, so there you go,
it's about 12 at night for me, so as you can probably tell by the lack of light.
I know.
It's
well,
time for
maybe we
sleeping
can
Historia.
do one. Maybe we can do one in my afternoon and your morning. But so this is what you get for living in the UK, man.
Well, yeah.
And coldness. and coldness.
I mean,
So,
I live in a country with a king, so I'm already depressed enough. You don't have to bring it up.
oh my God, a king with
I'm
big
a
ears, no
subject.
doubt.
I'm a
Oh,
subject, man. A
jeez.
subject. It was like, you know, when he got crowned and they were like, can everyone please remember to say the vow? And you're like, no. Well, just sat at home, just like, oh yeah, I swear I'll do whatever you want. I'll suck your cock. It's great.
Is
You
that
know,
what they said?
well, essentially, they get you to swear allegiance to the king, don't they? As the new
Like
king.
as far as they were asking the whole country, everyone in the country to swear as he was getting coronated.
Well, yeah, they did the whole
Coronation.
swear, yeah.
Coronation's
you
a pretty
sing, you know,
interesting word.
God
Coron, like
save
the
the king.
sun, Corona, the Sun Nation.
Yeah.
He's now the Sun King.
Well, interestingly, I think it was Yayan that pointed out that he was he did a particular no, when he's getting crowned, he did a particular motion around the chair, like he followed a set path, and it's possibly some kind of ritual Freemasonic thing, you know.
Path of the Sun, yeah, right, definitely.
Distracts everyone from the goat being sacrificed behind him.
yeah, exactly right. Look over here, divert your attention.
Right.
All right. So, all right, let's wrap it up because Lukey's getting tired.
Right,
He's
sweet.
run out of his juice. So thank you all for being here.
I'll see you later, man.
Yep. See you later. Oh, he's
Peace.
just jumping out now. All right. We'll see you soon. It's just me. Bye, Luke. All right. So there you go. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thank you all for being here. 300 of you still. Please like this, share it around, all the other stuff. Subscribe. You'll also find a link below. I'm going to Florida in a few months. So if you want to know more about that, maybe come and spend the weekend with me and Lorenzo. You'll find a link below. Go check it out. It will be amazing and awesome. And yeah, leave me a comment. What do you think? UFOs, what's going on? Project Bluebeam, is there any validity to it? Are they coming from infinite outer space or from just, lands across the water maybe? Let me know. And yes, I will be back tomorrow, same time, for a live with Lorenzo. So I shall catch you all then. So stay awesome. Have an amazing day. And I'll talk to you all. I'm just looking for the for the outro. I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.